I would like to now invite each and every one of you to join me in officially opening up the 3rd Global Conference of Wives. In less than 5 years, we have made a lot of progress. And it's not me who has done it. It's this collection.
And transformation is catalyzed by weavers and connectors.
And women were at the forefront of these revolutions. And it is a revolution about civil rights, human dignity, and more than anything, a different style of leadership.
Religion teaches love. We hate. It teaches peace. We fight each other.
Said the problem starts with self-perception, that when a woman stands in front of a mirror, the mirror is broken into pieces, so she doesn't see the totality of who she is.
Because you're all seekers and searchers and revolutionaries in your own right, that when you seek one thing very deeply, it only comes at very, very great cost.
The polls that we took reaffirmed women's desire to have women leaders, both in the religious interpretation and spirituality, and to have a Shura Council.
We need not only a new role for the ulama, we need new ulama. I should say it's based on a different status. It's a difference between rules for men and for women, between non-Muslims and Muslims. We want to change that, to see it from a perspective, a rights-based perspective.
In our initial research on this issue, we found that the Quran does not mandate leadership roles only for men. What our history records is not what our present reflects.
Rahma is the most important attribute of God in the Quran.
The strongest text that we have supporting women's right to political leadership is one that I think most of you are very familiar with, and that is the story of the Queen of Sheba in Surah An-Naml. God subhanallah frames the story in such a way that she comes across as a role model of a successful political leader.
The things that separate women of all faiths are not really that important. We can learn from one another.
Women are interested in practice. They're not interested in the theology. My problem is how to take their way, their mode of worship, and somehow find a way back to the high philosophical theology where I base my life, my work, my hope, my strength.
Wherever you stand, you have a particular point of view. The Talmud is not a very friendly place for women. My daughter at age 14 looked at me and said, "Mommy, you should become a rabbi."
It took the church 400 years to domesticate women. And a woman had this choice. She could emulate Mary, mother of Jesus, virgin, virtuous, or she could be like Mary Magdalene, a woman of ill repute.
I am Santa Nina Rasul, the first Muslim woman, not the first Muslim senator, the first Muslim woman, elected senator of the Republic of the Philippines, which is a predominantly Catholic country.
I have been practicing law from the last 14 years in Pakistan. I started from the ground level, the district court, the elementary court, then I went up to the higher court, and now I'm also practicing in the Supreme Court of Pakistan. Financial constraints is one thing which holds a lot of women back.
And being a victim myself, who have gone through female genital mutilation at a very tender age, who lost her 2 friends in the operation, that gave me the energy to stand and talk for the people who cannot talk for themselves. Being again a woman who was forced into marriage, I believe that I had a responsibility to stand up and to say no to issues that are not Islam. And I'm proud to tell you that I'm one of the framers of the Constitution of Kenya.
And that is not easy to fight against women's rights in the country that warlords are still powerful. All of us in our day-to-day work, we receive death threats, that today we have women's and men equality guarantee in the Constitution of Afghanistan, which is a great result and a great sign of hope.
It's not an Arab Spring, it's a turmoil. Is it a summer? Is it a winter? We shouldn't accept these misnomers.
They just sacrifice their bodies, their future, their dreams.
أنا آسفة بس امبارح بجد في ميدان التحرير أو في كل محافظة اللي نزل قادر يشوف إيه اللي حصل. اتحاد المصريين كله بجد كانت أجمل حاجة، كلنا كنا عيلة واحدة، أهل واحدة. تحيا مصر اللي إحنا امبارح كنا كلنا بنعملها، كلنا بنقولها. كان اتحاد بجد.
We know that young people spark the fire, but I do believe also that this revolution was or succeeded because of accumulations, many accumulations, when every honest voice and breath was cruelly muffled.
Every single day, Libyan women went out in masses every day and night, protesting in the Liberty Square in Benghazi and in all of other towns of Libya.
We chose nonviolence not out of cowardness, not out of weakness, but out of moral conviction. That the women's movement has a great role and a moral responsibility to launch a jihad against violence.
Faith is something that you have to accept, but it's also something that gives you power, and only God gives faith.
I have personally in life experienced the courage and the shahama which is mentioned in Quran about the women. I found it here in this conference.
Imam Saikal said, like, I consider hijab first issue before this conference. But after attending this conference and seeing the wisdom inside each woman here, I gave the hijab secondary option.
And then we start questioning the professions. Why not a female judge? We had one here. Why not female doctors? Why nurses?
When you talk about culture, Islam is also a way of life. If women are not realizing their leadership skills or positions because of cultural barriers, does it mean that the interpretation of Islam is playing a lesser role?
There are three main global problems in the world, and that is food security, and this is what caused mainly the falling of several governments in our part of the world, because they didn't have any food security, water scarcity, and energy.
Turkey is 126th out of 134 countries, which is not very promising. But contrary to that, number of CEOs, it's in the second rank.
Well, there should be some kind of motherhood discount so that her contributions actually make economic sense, because unfortunately for men, that's the only thing that will make them acknowledge this.
The WISE conference is 25% of the WISE experience. 75% comes when you go back to your communities and implement the ideas, the best practices.
We hear in the media, it's all negative. But today, I'm proud, and I'm going to leave this conference strengthened, an emancipated Muslim woman who would walk high and say, we are doing it.
We should be part of those negotiations. Without women participation in any decision making, you cannot bring peace.
Then we use the religious leaders themselves to come on our side, to hear us.
And that is why so many women, they hear what they hear from their men, they go on repeating that.
One thing we heard, a couple of really important things here. Women are half of the society, and the other half are raised on their laps. And then, from our Afghani group, the greatest wisdom of all, it's better to light a candle than to curse the darkness.